Hey guys, we're going to be doing a quick review over the elimination method that we learned yesterday, and then get into some homework. So let's go ahead and start off by completing these three problems. I do want you to notice with number three, I don't want to focus on doing the whole problem for number three. I want you to just do the opposites part. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to complete those three problems. All right. So the first one, this is not elimination, this is substitution. Want to make sure we reviewed it again. Bottom one is solved, so that's my solved one. It says y equals, so remember that's where we remove the y. And I'm going to put a parenthesis in that spot. So I have negative 8x plus 2, and then where the y was, I have my parenthesis equals negative 16. Inside the parenthesis is where I put that negative 7x plus 3. And I solve this equation. So distribute. 2 times negative 7x is negative 14x. 2 times 3 is 6. Add your x's together. We get negative 22x plus 6 equals negative 16. Let's solve our two-step equation. Minus 6 on both sides. I get negative 22. Finish it. Divide by negative 22, and x is 1. So I have my first part. I know that the x value is 1. I still need to figure out what the y value is. So remember, we're going to plug this back in. Now, since I have a solved equation, okay, I can use that when it's a little bit simpler, but this is an x answer. As long as you plug it in for an x, you should be fine. I'm going to use that bottom solved equation. So where the x is, I'm putting my 1. So negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. And negative 7, negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. So my y value then is negative 4. Okay, so that's that substitution problem. Now number 2, remember, said we're going to keep practicing this. Multiplies to be 48, adds up to be 19. I would start with 1 times 48. If I change that to addition, that adds up to be 49, so that's not it. For the 2, so I got to think 2 times what number gives me 48. If you're ever not sure, you can switch around and go 48 divided by 2. That's 24. So 2 times 24 is 48. 2 plus 24 is 26. So that doesn't work. Next number is 3. You got to figure out what number multiplied by 3 is 48. And that is 16. And oh, snap. We have our two numbers, 3 and 16. Okay. The very last one, I wanted to work on making opposites. And remember, there are different ways to make opposites, but I'm going to make sure I show our foolproof, our quote-unquote foolproof method. So remember, it was top by the bottom, bottom by opposite of the top. So the top equation multiplied by the bottom number. And remember, when we're doing this, we're just focusing on those two. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 4. Then bottom by opposite of the top. Well, opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. Okay, so the first thing I need to do then is adjust these. So all three of these multiplied by 4, that's going to give me negative 32x. 1y times 4 is positive 4y, and 7 times 4 is 28. Bottom, all three of these times 8. So 4x times 8 is 32x. 8y times 8 is 64y. And negative 12 times 8 is negative 96. And if we look here, I have opposites with the x's. So I am going to be able to finish this off. I didn't ask you to finish this one, so let's go ahead and do a few of these once again from start to finish. So reminder, what we just did right there, that's our first step. Okay, you don't have to write this down again. You need to make your opposites. And then the way we eliminate a variable is we're going to add the two equations together. That's going to give us our first equation to solve. So we would solve, we're going to get an answer, either an x or a y, depending. Okay. And then once I get that first one, I substitute it back in. Just make sure you're plugging it in for the right letter. So if I have an x answer here, I'm plugging in for x. If I have a y answer here, I'm plugging in for y. And that's going to give me one last equation to solve. Okay. So let's go ahead. Once you go ahead and do a few of these, start with this one here. Go ahead and pause the video and complete this problem. All right. Now, for this particular one thing you always want to check before you do the problem is you want to check and see if you already have opposites. And if I look here, right there with my y's, I already have opposites. So I don't need to make opposites if they already exist. I get to go to step 2, add my equations together. Okay, so negative 1x plus 7x is 6x. Negative 4y plus 4y is 0. Negative 4 plus 28 is 24. And I have my first equation to solve. Finish him. And I get x equals 4. Now, I just got an answer for x, so I'm going to plug that in. You can choose either equation, but this number 4 has to go in for an x. I'll just go ahead and use that top one. So I have negative 1 times 4 minus 4y equals negative 4. So I have negative 4 minus 4y equals negative 4. Solve my two-step equation. Add 4 to both sides. I get 0. Divide by negative 4. And 0 divided by negative 4 is 0. So my answer here is 4, 0. X, Y. Okay. All right, let's do another one here. 2 more. Go ahead and pause the video. And I want you to complete this problem. Okay, now in number 2 here, we do not have opposites to start. My x's do not add up to 0. My y's do not add up to 0. So we have to make our opposites. Okay, reminder, when we do that, if you're using the foolproof method, you're just focused on these two numbers. So top by the bottom. So times 9 on the top equation. The bottom by opposite of the top. Well, the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. And let's go ahead and multiply that out. The top, everything times 9. That's going to be negative 9x, negative 18y, and positive 54. On the bottom, everything times a positive 1. So essentially, the bottom is going to stay the same. I have a 9x, a negative 1y, and 22. Okay. You can see my x's are now opposites, so I can add my equations together. Okay. Negative 9x plus 9x is 0. Negative 18y plus negative 1y is negative 19y. 54 plus 22 is 76. Finish him. Divide both sides by negative 19. I believe that is negative 4. I just want to double check. Yep. And y is negative 4. Okay. Now, we need to plug this back in. Okay. Again, this is a y answer, so I have to put it in from one of these two y's. I'm just going to go ahead and use that top equation. So I have my negative 1x minus 2. The y, I'm putting my answer, negative 4, in that spot, equals 6. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. And then I solve my equation. Minus 8 on both sides. I get negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 1. X equals positive 2. So my answer, X, Y, 2, negative 4. Okay, one more. Go ahead and pause the video and complete these two problems. Or sorry, this one problem. Here we go. All right. Just like the last one, we do not have opposites right away. Okay, the x's don't add up to 0, the y's don't add up to 0. So I have to make my opposites. So I follow my rule. Top by the bottom, so the top times -4. The bottom by opposite of the top. Well, the opposite of -7 is +7. Okay, so be careful when multiplying. Okay, -7x times -4, that is +28x. 5y times -4 is -20y. -19 times -4 is +76. The bottom, everything times 7. So -4x times 7 is -28x. I can see my opposites already there. 4y times 7 is +28y. And -20 times 7 is -140. Okay, from here, we're going to add our equations together. As add up to 0. The y's add up to 8y. And the numbers here add up to -64. Finish him. Solve our first equation. And I get -8. Okay, so remember, that's my answer for y. I need to plug that back in. So I'm going to plug it in here where this y is. That's where I'm going to put my -8. Okay, so I have -7x plus 5 times -8 equals -19. Let's go ahead and multiply that, and then we'll have our equation to solve. So from here, two-step equation. Add 40 to both sides. And I get -7x equals 21. Finish him. I get -3. Make sure x, y. Now again, I didn't show this on the first two, but if I wanted to check it, I would use this bottom equation, and essentially I'd put -3 in for my x, -8 in for my y, and I can check this out. So -4 times -3 is 12. 4 times -8 is -32. And if I subtract those, I do get -20. So since I get -20, I'm good to go. Okay, I know for sure I have the correct answer. Okay, you're going to be working on a scavenger hunt. It is very similar to the one we did on substitution. Okay, so just remember, you're going to keep track of the order that you do the problems in, and start with number 1. Okay, and so let's go ahead and you work on that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Okay, and I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day.